Hey, it's Mike with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Wednesday. It's February 12th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And really, for all intents and purposes, this is a range day. I mean, we spent the entire day from 8:30 a.m. to 2 o'clock in this tight range. And really, you can call that really 33, I just call it 33.70 with the highs around 76 or so. So it's six, 6.5 points, something like that. So not much to work with here. Really, your only bet are longs off the lows and shorts off the highs. Um, there's a few in the middle here, which I'm generally not crazy about, but the way this was working out, we'll talk about those when we get to them. But you got to be careful with those because they tend to fail more than any. But really, anyway, we'll talk to those about those when we get. But we can see we went up a little too steep. We flattened out. Just after the open, we just went flat. And really up until about right here, we had kind of a downward bias. So that's why you see a little bit more reds in here early on. But once we bounced here a few more times, it was pretty obvious we were in a range then. But anyway, I'm going to back out and we'll go through the trades and won't take long today. This is pretty straightforward. So nothing really out of the ordinary here. I like this trade early on this morning. And if you catch just one trade, you can catch a runner. And there was still an upward trend at this point. You can catch a runner on this, and that might be the only trade you need for the day. But notice that we had a trend working up. We got an overshoot, which a lot of times leads to that uh, break on the other side, and that's what we got. Sometimes that'll automatically reverse the market, but a lot of times still you'll still get a move to a new high. But regardless, we made a little double bottom here, and then we had this double test. Notice we made that low. We test it once, we test it twice, and you get a nice bullish bar. And this is right at 7 o'clock too. And on a bigger picture, that's a two-legged move, so that would be a second entry long. Obviously it's not on this chart, so let me clarify that for the newbies because this will really screw them up. But if you went to a little bigger chart, you'd see a move back in a first entry and then a move up and a move back in a second entry. It's not on this level, but it's still a second entry there on a larger level. So I hope that's clear. But the big thing, it's a double test. Uh, you're finding support right there. We're probably going to go test this high, and that's exactly what happens. And if you catch that one trade, that's really probably all you need. But notice that you made a new low here. It's basically a double bottom, so it's a new low. First entry short, and then a second entry short, and you get another chance to go long right there on a failed second entry short with plenty of room to scalp out. There's a higher low right here, but now it's getting a little iffy here because you've had your break and you've got two legs up to a new high. So anything after this starts to get a little iffy. You need a really good setup. Um, and we just don't get that. We get a higher low right here. It's really almost a repeat pattern of this right here. Very similar to this and this next move. Um, but you're just really running out of room right there. And so I'd skip that trade. It would have worked, but it's not worth risking at that point in the day. Then we get a little reversal here, but this is really a little bit congestive and it's right at the EMA. I didn't mark this one. Notice that's a new high, first entry, second entry. And it's just kind of ended as a doji going both ways. Once we broke lower, you really got to go short right into the support right across there. And with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, really 8 bars almost stacked up there. And this one's close to being a neutral bar. This is basically a neutral bar here. It's just not worth taking. Turns out to be a nice move, but you don't know that. And of course we make a low, and then we get a little failed break lower here and a nice bullish bar with a good bit of ways to go back. We haven't had a break of this close outside this trend line, but this is probably going to trap some people. This actually broke lower and turned and went up. I would have liked it better if it would have kept on going through. I probably might have even made it red. but it's still a little bit aggressive, but it's not surprising that we would go back to the EMA and there's enough room. And this thing actually runs all the way to the high. Only problem with this one too is that it gaps over there, over the trend line, so you may not have been able to get in it anyway. So, but I marked it. And of course we run back to the highs and we make a little lower high here, but that's also a double test of this. And that's just a huge move way away from the EMA, double test. Nice bearish bar. I like going short right there. And that's the second trade. That's really, you've had two trades right now, and both of them would have had a nice runner. These are green. Of course, they're trades, but I mean, we've had two for sure trades that meet our rules, and either one of them would have given you a runner, and you could have been in and out quick. Of course, we run down here. We find support. The problem here, it's tempting to go long right here. But again, it gaps over and keeps going. But the problem here is you've already come off the EMA, so it may just break higher and turn back down. That's a pretty strong move down. It's you know, if anything, it's almost tempting to go short. You probably couldn't have got in this short or long, because notice there must be a thin spot there because we gapped over. There's no overlap between any of those three bars there. So that's really uncommon. Usually you're going to have an overlap on every bar, but we don't overlap coming down, and then we skip it going back up too. So there's some kind of thin spot where there weren't any orders right there. And it runs up, and you actually get a reversal here, but it's just hard to say what's going on right there. Again, it's not a very good reversal. You just got a bunch of bars stacking up here, and they all got all those matching highs, and this is what is likely to happen until you break up and you get stuck, and you just kind of going sideways here till finally you break higher. And you could look at that as a double test failed breakout, but it's also a second entry short. Notice that new low, first entry. So you really got two legs. You got a break here, two legs to a new high, then it turns down. And at this point, we still had a downward bias, so I really like that trade. And then we come back here and we break higher and fail and turn and go out the other side. So now you got a failed second entry long to the upside, and it went higher before turning down. So I like going short there again. And you get another nice little move down. By the time you get to this second entry short right here, which was more congestive than anything, you can see all that across there. But there's just too much support down here by now. You don't want to be, even though it works, you don't want to be going short there. You're going to probably be expecting a long right here. Notice you made that low. You test it once, twice. Nice bullish bar. It's a really big bar, so you may let it break higher and drop a limit order in, see if it'll back up some. This thing takes off. And again, it's tempting to go long right there on a failure that comes back, but notice all that support, I mean that resistance across there. I didn't bring the line all the way across, but you just, you know, it's just too risky. And even though it works, you're better off to stay out of that. I just don't. You just can't justify going long there. Runs back up to the top, and you actually test the high, you get a break, and you get two attempts to go higher right there. And this one breaks higher and fails and turns down. Just go short right there, because it's obvious you got strong resistance there. This was a quick, easy trade. And you actually get a double test here, but you just can't go short right into that. And then you actually make a failure here, but now you're kind of right in the middle. But when it tries to go short once, twice, and breaks higher here, I like going long here, because this was a fairly long trend up. So we may try to push up to a new high, and that's exactly what it does. Even though it finds resistance here still, notice how it makes a new high and a double top. If you'd have got a nice signal bar here, that would have been considered a lower high on that double top, but it's just too congestive and too many neutral bars in there. But we push down, pull back, and test the EMA, and then it actually goes higher first and turns and goes out the other side. I like that. Again, as another trap, and look at it go. And you get another pull back here, but you're too far away from the EMA, too close to the bottom. You're getting close for a long now. I mean, this is obvious range at this point. So when it bounces down here with this nice bullish bar, if you can get in here, there's that gap again. It headed back to the upside. Everybody knew it was a range by now. That's the problem. Everybody is expecting what's fixing to happen here. And if you can get in that one, by all means, you want to take it. Normally, I wouldn't like entering here in the middle. This thing pushes right through the EMA and gives a double test of it. Nice bullish bar. You got to go long there because we're probably headed right back to the top. So I like that one. And that really took us into 2 o'clock. You don't want to be getting short or long right in here. And that just took us on up in the 2 o'clock hour. So, and I doubt I would hold a runner here. You wouldn't have. It probably wouldn't have worked anyway. But where you want to hold a runner is on these, maybe off the lows and on the failed break higher or lower. That's where you want to try to get a runner on a day like this. Trying to get a runner in the middle or off a trap or something is almost futile. So wasting your time really. But yeah, pretty straightforward day. I'll back out again just to show you the big picture. And you can see it. I mean, if you hide that move up in the morning, you can easily see this is just a range day. And so really your plays are shorts off the highs and longs off the lows. And you just about couldn't go wrong. You just waited. Even if you'd taken this short or this short, it still would have worked. Anything off these highs would have worked with a good setup, and anything off these lows with a good setup would have worked. And so there it is. But yeah, not much else I can say about today. Like I said, it's fairly straightforward. It's just a range day, really. But anyway, we'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll wrap up our week. But I'm done for today. So anyway, I'm out here. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.